All right, Carlo. First question for you, I guess. Busy regular season for you. I was just watching one of your TikToks, and you're doing all the stats from the basketball year, how many hours you were on flights, how many hours you were on air, and all that stuff.
Yeah.
Have you had any time this summer or this spring to just kind of relax and breathe a little bit after what was a chaotic NBA season for you? I'm sure.
Yeah, it's a good question because it's kind of like a weird. The way somebody described it to me once is like you get on the train and then at some point the train just stops. Like it just feels like one long day.
Yeah.
Because there's no real. I mean, you have the All Star break, but even that this year was in LA, so there's like no real
Mm,
breaks during the season. I would say I definitely have felt rejuvenated, able to like relax a little bit, read, watch shows, see family and friends I don't get to see when the chaos is going
mm,
on. So I've enjoyed. I like to think of this part of my life as I'm able to explore things I don't get a chance to do during the season.
right.
So whether that's movies or books or I do improv classes, so kind of
Oh,
like
nice.
doing that. So random stuff, but stuff I enjoy.
Yeah, right on. Is that improv stuff just something you kind of walked into, or is that something you've always kind of liked to do?
It's a good question. So in college, I love my college experience, but I definitely hunted the easier classes, I would
Right.
say.
Like we all did.
Yeah, so one of those classes was improv, and I actually loved it. I was like, this is awesome. So I took improv, and then I took improv two, and then I took stand-up comedy, which I was horrible at, and probably the
Okay.
hardest. That was probably the hardest class I ever had to take,
Yeah.
just from like a mental perspective. Like, oh, today I have to go make these people laugh. Like,
Yeah, I'm surprised that's even a course.
yeah, yeah. Well, a couple of the kids who were in my class actually like are going for it, like trying to do stand up full time,
Right
which is
on.
pretty cool. Um, but definitely the hardest thing I've ever done. Like I was terrified the whole time. I remember we were supposed to introduce ourselves, like as you do before a class, and we're sitting around, and all these kids had like jokes. They're all like giving little, and I was really like,
Classic.
my name's Carlo, and I had nothing. I had nothing. I
Yeah.
literally blanked out.
Didn't know we had to
Uh,
prep already, guy.
yeah, I was like, what is like we're doing class intros. Like what these people
Yeah.
are already funny. But yeah, so I honestly just like haven't really enjoyed it. I did one last summer, and then doing a class again this summer, but it's just kind of fun to let loose and lean into being like silly and yeah, it's like good practice. You have to listen to your
Yeah.
partner and kind of like go back and forth. So I enjoy it.
You say improv, and the first thing that popped to my head was Jump Street or 22 Jump Street when Jonah Hill's character is at the improv class.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
That's where my mind went, anyways. Okay, broadcasting wise, I know you did a lot in high school, and when I was reading your LinkedIn page, it just kind of seemed like you dove headfirst, like right into broadcasting, and were just doing as much as you could. What kind of kickstarted the broadcast interest for you?
Yeah, I think like almost everyone, well, not almost everyone, but a lot of people I've met, like I played sports and was like, oh, this is so much fun. And then
Mm,
you realize like I'm not good enough to
yeah.
play sports. So what can I do to stay around them? So in high school, I joined, we really lucky. We had like a student radio station, which is essentially like a YouTube broadcast that they call
Hmm.
the student radio station. But you could call games for like the high school meant for the varsity team for baseball, basketball, and football. And so my sophomore year, when I was riding the bench on JV, I was like, all right, gonna have to do something else. Like I'm watching like everybody else.
Yeah.
So I would go down. I remember I signed up to call a game on like this little Google sheet we had, and I would run down to the locker room. We had to wear a tie on game day, so I'd like change out of my uniform. I never sweated in because I didn't take my warm up off. Change into my tie. The coach would come in. Hopefully we won because it'd be a quick like post game like
Oh
good
yeah.
job guys, congrats on the win. And then I would run up to the varsity game and call the varsity game with like 5 minutes on the clock. I was like opening my boards and like making sure I had all the people on the floor because high school can be like the numbers are wrong. I love max
Oh yeah.
preps, but max preps is like it's like you're crossing your fingers hoping that website actually is accurate.
Yeah.
So, but no, it was that, and then I called those games. And I was like, this is super fun. Like this is something I want to get into. And I think part of doing a ton of it, especially when I was in college, was I wanted to try like as many different avenues of doing broadcasting as possible. So I did 3 years of writing for the student newspaper. I worked for the student TV station. I interned for the athletic department. I was just like, I wanted to be able to make sure I knew I really liked it. So I wanted to try everything else, which I think end up trying everything else kind of helped me in the long run. It was good experience to have.
Yeah, you talk about the high school stuff, and my mind goes to, I did this rugby game one time, and they changed jerseys at halftime because, rugby, their number correlates to, like, the position that they are.
Yeah.
And it was my first time ever doing rugby, and it just was like, this is awful. I'll never do it again.
That's horrible.
Yeah.
I didn't even know you could, like, so you had to just know people by their face? Like, there's no identification?
Well, so the color commentator that was with me in the booth, she knew the players, so she was able to help a little bit with, like, okay, this is this person, they're wearing that number now, type of stuff. So she was a big help, and it was a mess. It was one of those ones where we added it to the schedule late, and like our two main play-by-play guys were like on vacation, so they're like, Troy, you're up, and I'm like, okay, like here's 4 days of trying to research girls high school rugby. I don't think I'll ever do that sport again, but
but it
was an experience. Yeah. And you talk about trying like the different avenues, and I thought you were talking like different sports, but yeah, same thing for me getting into the industry. I was doing PA announcing, doing some writing, doing some color commentary because the play-by-play spots were always taken up. How important do you think it is to try different sports when you're first starting out doing play-by-play? Like you did a ton of different ones, didn't you?
Yeah, I did. I had a similar experience with you where they're like, want to call water polo? And I was like,
yeah,
I've never watched water polo, but I would love to call water polo.
Yes.
So yeah, I think I think that's really important because like you said, we're all going to have a moment where somebody's going to call you and be like, hey, can you do this? And the best advice that I often hear in broadcasting is like, you say yes to every opportunity because you never know, right? You never know what that's going to look like. So I think for me, like learning how to call water polo, learning how to learn a new sport, like just the process of like, all right, what do I say? What's more important is what do I not say, right? Like I'm not going to try to sound smart here. How do I make sure what I say, I can fool the viewer to think I'm like I've been watching water polo my whole life.
Too, right?
Yeah, learning the lingo, learning the rules. So no, I think that's really important because you learn quickly how to adjust and adapt. And then I think also one thing that carries over with every sport is like calling the highlights, right? So like when you called rugby, I'm sure you learned how to you kind of get experience calling the highlights. I don't even know what would be considered a goal in rugby, but I'm sure there's
a try. It's a
try. There we go. But like that was like it for me for water polo. Like they shoot and the water polo games are usually like they're in the like low tens, but like so you're getting like 20 goals a game, so like there's 20 highlights that I get to practice on. So no, I thought that was huge. I miss water polo, to be honest with you. Now I wish I could call more of it. It's so fun, and the games are like 55 minutes, which is awesome.
Like what? So you were doing that in university when you were doing water polo? Did it for like a couple of years?
USC actually has a really good water polo program. Like
okay, that helps.
Yes, it does. It was a little painful when we do like we do the conference tournament, and the first day of the conference tournament you do 4 games, and like the average difference of score was like 16 to 18 goals, and you're like, those are long days. But
we've all had those.
Yeah. Where the first quarter's not over, but the game is, and you're like, this is.
Everyone knows it too, but as a broadcaster, you got to be like, hey, it's not over yet. You never know.
Crazier things have happened.
Just hitting all the cliches in like the first 10 minutes of the game. That's funny.
Exactly.
You mentioned doing like 4 games in a day. I was listening to a podcast that you did, and you mentioned how this is essentially your quote. You said there's something to be said about quality over quantity. 4 games in a weekend is great, but when you do 1 game on a weekend, oftentimes that's the tape you're sending to potential employers. Just tell me a little bit about your thought process on that and making sure you're doing well on that 1 game in a weekend.
Yeah. Well, first of all, impressed by your research, Troy. Nobody's ever direct quoted me from a podcast on a podcast, so
I take pride in it.
Yeah, I respect it. That's a great question. I think if I could go back, and like this kind of goes to what I would tell younger broadcasters or younger me, is I think I chased every rep. And I think saying yes to every opportunity is good, but there is a point where like it's not good. Like diminishing returns, right? Like, so I would oftentimes, when I was in college, I would call like a water polo game on a Saturday or a Saturday morning, and then sometimes like the USC football game Saturday afternoon or Saturday night, or like when baseball and basketball are crossing over. You know, there are many weekends where it was a baseball game in the afternoon, a basketball game at night, or sometimes women's and men's were at home the same weekend, so it was 4 games, 4 days. And like, listening back to those games, I don't feel like and it's hard to, you know, do that with the circumstances, but I feel like I learned more when I had more time to actually focus in on one game. And I had a better broadcast when I was able to focus in on one game. So yeah, I wish I could have gone back and been like, you know, do I need to do every single game that's on campus? Because like I had that opportunity, and I don't think I needed to. I think there was probably 20 games a year I didn't need to do.
Right.
But I think it kind of speaks to the fact that like we chase the most amount of reps, but is it the right practice? Like, are you actually getting out of the game the most you can if you're scraping together prep and on 4 hours of sleep and, you know, your voice is tired? I don't think Steve Nash said this, but I heard it from Steve Nash, is
Canadian.
Shout out Steve. Big, my family all went to Santa Clara University, so they're big, big Steve Nash fans.
Nice.
But he was a big advocate of like, you can practice, but like you should try to shoot for perfect practice, like being really efficient. And so I think trying not to do every single game that comes across your table, if it's going to be a detriment to the other games, it kind of speaks like perfect practice is better than just a crazy amount of practice.
Instead of just like going through the motions, like 100%. What good is that, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I can relate to that for sure. I've done tournaments, go up to a city with a couple of buddies to stream a tournament, and you're doing like 8 to 10 games in a day because they're flying. It's like summer hockey, right? And they're just flying by. But then you get midway through the day and it's like, I got to focus on something specific. Like maybe I got to stop repeating these lines, these words, and like try and mix it up. But like if you're doing a lot of games, at least like focus on one thing that you're going to do differently each game. But yeah, I like that quote that you said too, because looking back at my demo reels, it's the one-off games that are on them, because they're the bigger broadcasts, right? Where you have graphics and replays, and it kind of makes me as a broadcaster look a little bit better when the broadcast is larger.
For sure.
You've been asked about this a lot, I'm sure, the 2023 Jim Nantz Award when you were at USC. For the Canadian listeners, the majority, if not all of them, family and friends of me, that is the Heisman Trophy of Broadcaster Awards. That I didn't come up with that. That was in another interview that you did. The host said that, just to kind of give everyone an idea of how big of an award that is. Walk me through what it was like. The application process, I know, it is quite large as well. And I mean, getting the call from Jim, missing the call from Jim, and then trying to phone him back. Walk me through that.
Yeah. It is definitely something that's kind of stressful, because you have to take all these games that you've done all year and boil them down to like 15 minutes, which I think is a little bit of a terrifying process. And then like really you have to boil down. I think I submitted basketball, football, baseball, like each of those has to be under 5 minutes. And so you're really looking for like the best of the best that you've called. One thing I did a lot in college was listen back to my games, and kind of did it often. So I would have a folder of like notes on, I thought this stretch was really good. If listen back to this maybe for the award. So I kind of like always had that in the back of my mind, because I applied every single year. So it's like I was building these processes on how to make that process more efficient. And then getting the award, I mean, I was with such a talented group of people. I thought any of us could have won, but I think, it's just cool to be recognized, feel like you're doing something right. I don't know if it, I like to joke with people that I don't think it changed my life, but I think it was a great award. And I think it was, honestly, more than anything, Troy, I think it was good practice putting together a reel every year and trying to figure out, like, all right, what do I need to put in this reel? How can I make this reel better? And then, so when you win the award, Jim Nantz calls you. And I got this call from him, and I was like, I'm not answering this. Like, no phone number, right? Like, what am I going to do? So I let it go to voicemail, and then I look at my voicemail, and it's like, hey, Carlo, congratulations. This is Jim Nantz. And I was like, holy, like, I got to call this guy back.
Yikes.
So I called Jim back. He was super kind, really nice person. Like, he had family that had gone to USC, so he was happy about that little connection. And then but the best part is I have a voicemail of Jim Nantz congratulating me.
Keep it.
So yeah, exactly. Now I get to keep that. That's in my notes app. So honestly, probably the best call I've missed in my life. If I'm being honest.
For sure. No, that's so cool to get to talk to him. Have you spoken to Jim since?
I haven't. I'm hoping. They haven't done a lot of SoFi games. But when they come out to SoFi, he's always super like, come out to a game. So I'm probably going to find a way to try to sneak into the booth and see how it all goes down. But no,
nice.
He's been, he was very gracious when we spoke, super kind.
Yeah. I love listening to him. I love the calmness, especially at Augusta. Hello, friends. And just such a calming nature whenever he's on the call.
He needs to do
specifically.
Like a meditation app.
He does.
Right? Imagine like Jim Nantz being like,
or something.
Breathe in, breathe out. I'd be like, yes, Jim, I will breathe in and breathe out.
Oh yeah, no, Jim Nantz is great, and again, for all the Canadian listeners, is like the equivalent of a Bob Cole here or Foster here. Like he's a legend. He's a legend in American sports broadcasting for sure. Another legend is the Eagle family. I know you're good friends with Noah, and he was the Clippers radio guy before you, correct?
Yes.
Tell me about your relationship with him and how, I guess, involved he might have been in helping you land that gig.
Yeah, it's funny. I met Noah when I was in high school. I was reaching out to different schools about different broadcasting opportunities, kind of doing my research. And obviously Syracuse is a huge broadcasting powerhouse. I mean, I think they just pump those guys out year after year who are ready to call professional games. And I reached out to Drew Carter, who at the time was just a senior and now is the TV voice of the Boston Celtics. And we talked on the phone, and I think I asked Drew, like, hey, could you connect me with somebody in a leadership role at WAER, which is the student radio station at Syracuse. And so Drew gave me Noah's email. I think I sent Noah 3 questions, just like typed out. We didn't even talk on the phone, and he got back to me, and it was like super nice. I was like, wow, that's really nice. Like, thanks so much.
Yeah.
And then he gets the Clipper job. I end up going to USC, and he kind of like, we would keep in touch. I would send him a reel once a year, and he would get back to me with feedback. So it was like, really nice. We didn't talk that much, to be honest. But my senior and junior year, I came and shadowed Noah at a game, which was really fun. And honestly, a great experience. I think I learned more just doing that than anything else. Just seeing like how he interacted with the ushers, with the people who were in the media room, with all the media members, with the people he was working with in the booth. And so we were kind of building a relationship. He didn't help me with the Clippers. Like I wouldn't say he was like, hey, Carlo, you should apply. But once I got the job, he was really helpful after, just like navigating how to, work, where to go in certain broadcast booths, like where to sit on the bus, like what to wear to a media event, things like I just have no idea how
the stuff that you wouldn't even think about.
Exactly. It wasn't even like I was asking him like, hey, how do I call this? It was like, how early should I get to the plane? Like, where do I park when I get to the plane? Like, stuff like that.
Logistics.
Exactly. So from that, Noah and I have built a friendship, and I owe him a lot, to be honest. He's somebody who's believed in me more than I've believed in myself at times, and has been somebody I lean on still for advice. Like even I did TV this year for Fox. I was lucky enough to do that. and just texting him like how does shoot around work, when do people get there, how do these meetings with coaches work, stuff like that. And it's been great to have somebody like that in my life. I didn't grow up with like a big brother, but Noah often does feel like a big brother to me through broadcasting.
Yeah, for sure. What he's like, because you're an '01. He's what, 5 or 6 years older than you, something like that?
Yeah.
What was that Fox experience like for you? How often do you get to do TV?
Yeah, this was the first year doing it. Hopefully I'll be able to do some more next year, but it was great. It was kind of something that I just had to squeeze into the Clippers schedule. So, whenever there was a break in Clippers games or we had a day off, I was trying to find a way to call a game, or they would come to me with the schedule and we kind of figure it out. But it was really cool. I think TV is such a different experience than radio. On radio, you are just describing the who, the what, the when, the where, and I'm solo, so sometimes the why and the how. And on TV, there's so many other things going on that you're almost just kind of like a pass first point guard.
Right. Yeah.
Okay. We got to
literally.
You got to get to this graphic. All right, let me transition us to this graphic.
Yeah.
We're going to talk about this replay. The analyst wants to talk about this. Like, I think Kevin Harlan describes this as like, on TV, you're the fourth most important person because people can see the picture. They want to hear the analyst. They want to see the graphics and the replay, and then it's you. Versus like on radio, if I want to talk about something, it gets talked about, right? But like so many times on TV, you prep things, and what really matters is like, what is my analyst into? Because that's what we're going to talk about. Because I want it to sound like we're both interested in what's going on. So. It was a neat experience. I really thought it was fun to do both and kind of like be able to exercise both of those muscles in the same year.
For sure. When my streaming experience is basically radio, in the sense that there's no graphics or replays or anything. I'm a solo show. But yeah, there is a ton of setting up everyone else when you're on television and talking with your color commentator, asking what they want. Because like you said, they're who everyone wants to hear from. They played the game. Like, they can break it down. Do you ever find yourself, like, backing yourself into a corner when you're on radio trying to break down a play and going, I might be out of my depth here? Because you played basketball for sure, but not in the NBA.
No, for sure. I mean, it's happened before. I think my first year, I was trying to get cute and called out, like, a Gortat screen, which is essentially like when the screener clears out the help defense. And I thought to myself after, I was like, who is listening to a radio game and is going to know what the hell that is? Or like somebody will miss help defense or, like it's just trying to describe basketball on the radio is already difficult. And I can't even imagine doing it for hockey because it's like so fast. Like it is so fast. And so then trying to break down strategy to somebody who can't see what's going on. Yeah. Like that's like, I definitely did not do that last year. I just gave up. I think
I did it one time. We're like,
after the Gortat screen, I was like, no. Like sometimes in basketball, they do this thing called icing the screen where you try to like reject the screen.
Yeah.
But even now, like visually, neither of us or at least I never got anything unless people wrote it down on a whiteboard. So no.
Well, it's like you're trying to be efficient by describing what's going on, but then it is harmful because how many people actually know what a Gortat?
Gortat. It's after Marcin Gortat, who played in the NBA for a long time, and he kind of I don't know if he came up with the move, but the move was deemed something that he created.
Right.
Yeah.
But you're trying to be efficient by saying it and go, people will know it, but then how many people actually do know what it is? And then you're just confusing them. But
exactly.
No, that is a good point. You're still learning. I mean, talk about doing lots of learning. Like, what were some big things in your early days of broadcasting that you were like, definitely not doing that, or that worked really well?
So many things. I think the biggest one is just like sounding like myself, I think. And then also not trying to prove on every play that I belong. I think early on I was like, how much alliteration can I force into this play?
Right.
Or, how many interesting ways can I describe this drive or this shot? And I think if you do that on every play, it's like you sound like you're trying to be a broadcaster, right? You don't sound, nobody is doing that on every single play. So that was one. And then like knowing when to use that stuff. And then also just trying to like be conversational in the way I speak during the broadcast. I think when you put on the headset and the adrenaline starts getting going, sometimes you can lose yourself. Like you're like, oh, here we go. It's time to be a broadcaster. Like when in reality, it's like, no, it's just time to be you. Like just do what you always do. Yeah. So those are the two big things. I think also the other stuff gets a lot easier. So like prepping for games gets easier when you've been in it now 3 years and you've seen this for the majority the same players for those 3 years. So then you can kind of relax a little more in the booth. And I think that helps. Like my first year, Troy, I had to watch highlights before every game just to make sure I knew who's who. And I don't do that anymore. Like, cause like you've seen it, you know, you've seen these guys enough.
You know how they
like,
move.
Yeah. Like trust me, I can tell you what this guy looks like when he plays, or I don't have to look at numbers anymore, which is pretty nice.
Well, yeah, and sorry, go ahead.
No, I think that just helps with that comfort level and then sounding less like a broadcaster.
Right. Yeah. All I was going to say is you focused a TikTok on that. Like, how do you know who's who when you can't see the name or the number?
Yeah.
And you reference, like, body movement. And for me, like, more often than not, that's how I recognize a player when I'm doing my home team.
Sure, yeah.
It's by, like, the gear that they're wearing or the way that they're moving, trying to battle for a puck in the corner type of situation. So it's amazing. It's like you subconsciously pick up on stuff like that. And you're like, oh, wow, I guess I know what kind of helmet that guy wears or
100%.
How he advances the puck type of stuff.
Yeah. It is fun.
Yeah. Being you're the youngest broadcaster in the NBA, that's quite an achievement for yourself. And I know you have had some fun interactions with some players. Tell me about the one with Derek Queen in New Orleans when he recognized you.
This is hilarious. This was probably the first moment, and it took 3 years for it to happen, where I was like, oh yeah, like I'm these guys' age.
Yeah.
Like, we were
You're closer in age to the players than like the veteran broadcasters, which is like, it's obvious, but no one thinks about that.
No. I often wonder like what guys who I don't meet right away think I do for the team. Like they're probably like,
what's this guy doing?
My first ever dinner with the team, Troy, I've never told this, but somebody thought I was my boss's kid. like, and I was like, oh no. Boy, like here we go. They
just
my
assumed
boss.
Nepo baby.
I mean, well, they just thought I was. So for the Clippers, we do training camp in Hawaii every year. And people bring their families because it's like training camp. It's not as serious as maybe everything else. So my boss was very nice, and he was like, hey, we have a team dinner tonight. Why don't you come with me? Super kind, right? First day, literally like my first day on the job.
That's great.
And somebody was like, oh, so you brought your son? And I was like, man. Like,
did you correct them or did your boss correct
them?
No.
Yeah, no, I did not correct them. I did not. I was like, tough. But no, so Derek Queen in New Orleans. It was our second day there. And in New Orleans, I like to take bus 1 just to get to the arena early, film some social media videos, kind of set up. And often the young guys are the ones warming up earliest because it's by seniority in which you usually have your warm-up times picked.
Right.
And so I'm up in the booth kind of setting up, and there's maybe like 10 of us in the arena. Like it's Derek Queen getting shots up, his trainer working with him, our social media person Madison, Lauren, our sideline reporter. I don't even know if Brian and Fratello, they do TV. I don't know if they're in the arena at the time. But I don't have my glasses on, and I cannot see without my glasses. Like I have no idea what's going on.
Blind as a bat.
Yeah. Like seeing far for me is impossible. So I'm talking to my engineer up in the booth, Luke, and we're chatting, and all I hear is, hey, I've seen you on TikTok. But like I don't know who Derek is yelling at. So I literally don't even acknowledge the comment. Which, like, looking back, how could, like, I feel bad. I tried to go up to Derek, like, after and be like, hey, man, thanks. But I don't know.
I had no idea that you were talking to me.
Yeah. But Madison, who's our social media director, she was on the floor. And so I go down and she's like, Carlo, you're famous. And I was like, what? And she was, Derek Queen was yelling at you. And I was like, oh my goodness. Like, he was yelling at me about TikTok.
Yeah.
But that was funny. Just to have, like, you know, you post stuff on the internet, and no matter how many people see it, for some reason you think no one really sees it. Like, you're like,
oh yeah,
you're like, no one
totally
I know actually watches this.
Yeah.
Like, no one actually sees this. So to have that interaction was like, oh wow, like people are seeing this. And then also, I always lie to myself and say no players see this. Like, there's no way. Like, this isn't coming up on there. They aren't scrolling Instagram Reels. But to have that interaction was, I broke that peace I had made with myself.
Yeah,
But that's okay.
yeah.
But it was
And
funny.
He's like a recent high draft pick. Like, how
Yeah.
old is he?
Yeah, he's 20 because he was a sophomore coming out of school, I think.
Right.
And he was picked 13th by New Orleans.
High
And
pick.
they traded a pick for him. So it was a whole big deal. But yeah, no, that was funny.
Has that been the only one since? I'm sure fans have maybe seen it, because when you're calling games, sometimes you're like right in the seats, aren't you?
Yeah.
Like, how often do you get recognized?
It's funny. Fans a lot. It probably happens once a game, like at an arena, walking around, which is funny. And it's always fun because it's always younger people. And so I always like enjoy that interaction where people be like, oh, like I listened. And I'm like, you're 10 years old. You turn on the radio? Like, you listen? I'm like, awesome. Like, let's go. That's what I'm talking about. So yeah, kind of feeding the younger generation that radio is cool has been fun. But no, it's really neat. And I love meeting people. And I think often people will, you know, they're just so kind. And I think they appreciate the behind the scenes of the NBA and kind of learning about little stupid stuff. But it's fun. It's really fun.
Yeah, I mean, that's how I found you on TikTok or Reels, whatever. Carlo the Broadcaster, for those listening, on
That's right.
YouTube, Instagram, and TikTok. At one point, were you like, yeah, I either have to start making some content, or I want to start making content? When did you really start the push to do that? And how often do you post?
Yeah, it's a good question. So I actually drew inspiration from Sam Levitt, who is the Padres pregame, postgame guy. He's
also
famous.
the what's his quote?
Yeah. You got it.
It's the I don't know the wording exact. The 2022 season has come to an end.
Yeah.
Good.
Bang. Come on
is
now.
that the word
That's
for
it.
word?
Word for word.
Yeah.
Word for word.
For those listening, that's him. Everyone knows that quote. Everyone knows that trending sound. But
Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, you drew inspiration from him.
So yeah, Sam was the one who started posting when he was with the Sod Poodles in AA.
The who?
The Amarillo Sod Poodles. They're a AA
Gotta
baseball
love
team.
minor baseball team
Yes.
names.
Yes. They're creative. I respect the Trash Pandas. There's some electric
Oh, it's good stuff. Yeah.
minor league baseball team names. So Sam started posting, and I was a junior, third year in college, and I was like, all right, I'm gonna try this. Like, it might be fun. And I had a couple videos do well. Kind of just tried anything and everything. I think I copied a couple of Sam's formats probably because I was like, oh, I need to, need some inspiration.
Hey, you need a base.
Exactly. So started out doing that, and then when I got to the Clippers, they were big on like, hey, like, we see that you do some social media. We would love for you to continue to do that here. And so I just kind of signed a contract with myself and was like, all right, I'm going to post every day. And like, no one ever told me I had to do that, but when you hear about social media and the people who are very successful, they do often talk about consistency. So during the season, I try to post every single day. It probably comes out to like 6 days a week because I'm, late behind on a video here.
Yeah.
Or
Still, that's a lot. And editing a video takes time.
It does.
Like, especially the quality of videos that you're doing too. It's not like you're just like recording yourself 15 seconds and like you're doing graphics and a lot of different movement and whatever. Like,
yeah. Well, thankfully, so my first year, I edited all the videos myself. And then I almost like died. So I was like, all right, I need to find some help. So now I have an editor. So that's been a huge help. Yeah.
That saves you a ton of time.
Yes. No, shout out Christian. He saves my life every single day. So couldn't be here without him. But yeah, so I've been able to like delegate a little bit just because the first year, like with calling games and editing, like I would show up to an arena and I'd get there 4 hours before, and like literally up until 20 minutes before the game, I had Premiere Pro on my computer, and I'm like trying to adjust these like captions or like make sure this looks good. And I think at the end of the year, I looked at myself like, all right, this is not a viable way to do this. Like I'm gonna something bad is gonna happen if I keep pushing this to this kind of limit.
It's a lot, yeah.
Yeah.
What else I got here? Oh, this is something I've always wondered. I've done one. Actually, I said this earlier. I've done a lot of games that are like radio streaming, but I've actually done one radio game. I did it this past year in the OHL with my friend Jack Moore up in Oshawa, and
Nice.
he pre-records his intermission content and does a little bit of stuff pre-game as well. How do your intermissions work, or halftimes work? Sorry.
Yeah, it's a good question. No one's ever asked me that. So we have a pre-game, halftime, post-game host who is the glue of the broadcast booth, I would say, Adam Oslin. Adam is a legend. He probably the most well-versed and knowledgeable Clipper person I know in the media space. He is locked in on everything Clippers, past, present, and often future. And so Adam does our whole halftime. He does the show's whole pre-game and post-game. So he's there. I mean, he's on air essentially from 6 on a 7:30 game. He's on air from 6:30 to 11. It is a long
time.
Yeah, it's a long time for Adam. And Adam has now started doing national radio, and his shows are usually like Friday overnights. So like if we have a Friday night game, Adam will do the Clipper game from 6:30 to 11, and then his overnight pretty much, I think it's 12 to 3 or 11 to 3. It's crazy. It's crazy. He's a machine.
Those are gnarly hours. You gotta love it, man. You have to love it if you're doing that.
He does love it. Yeah. So shout out Adam. We would not be the same without him. He definitely, I feel like he too does such a good job at hearing callers out. Like, you lose one game and people think you should fire everyone and their mother, and it's like, well, that's not exactly a good idea, but I appreciate
chill out.
Yeah, exactly. So Adam does a good job hearing those people out and then walking them off the cliff, which I'm very impressed with.
Oh, that's a hilarious way to put it. Yeah. Well, shout out Adam, and I know you have well, at least this is in the TikTok. I don't know if things have changed since, but your producer Daniel, engineer RJ, and statistician Scott.
Yeah.
Those are the people that you're listening to in your headset during a game. Is it ever, how chaotic can it get listening to three people? I know they're not talking in your ear every second, but what's that like during a game?
Yeah, it's fun. It's honestly, I enjoy it. I think this is something Noah kind of showed me but what he does is he has his stats and spotter guy in his headset. And I was always like, how on earth do you even like focus? Like, you tell me you got 3 people talking to you at all times? But no, so when we're in Sacramento, it's RJ and Scott are with me. And I always tell RJ, like, yeah, I'd prefer like if Scott could talk to me in my headset, because when you pass notes, like I'm then looking down and then looking at the court, which works, but it's almost better if I can keep my eyes on the floor and somebody just talks to me.
Oh, okay.
Right? Because then you're like not worried about changing what you're looking at.
Yeah, and getting burned.
Exactly. Because that does happen a couple times a year. You're looking down and you're like, oh, somebody stole the ball.
Yeah.
Something like that. So I think it's something I've had to work on. It's something I really was uncomfortable with when it first happened, because you're just not used to somebody talking to you while you're talking to somebody who's not them. like it almost feels like I'm in like Ocean's 11. You got somebody in your ear and you're like,
oh yeah,
trying to figure something out, talk to somebody else. But it is something that as I've done more of it has gotten a lot easier, and I think honestly helped me focus on the game, because the game is the most important thing. Even if somebody tells me something like that might be a neat stat, I don't want it to interrupt the flow of the game. So it's easy to balance that, versus when you look down at something, sometimes it kind of feels like there's an obligation because I'm taking time away from the game to check on that thing.
Yeah, I hear you 100%. And something that makes it even more challenging too is when you're doing games solo. Like when I was working in community TV, I had a color commentator, and my our graphics department, or whoever that was talking to me in my ear would only talk to me when our color commentator is speaking. So like I
Yeah.
have a second to actually listen to what's going on. Like I can't imagine how challenging that would be because you're talking every second pretty much, and they just
Yeah.
have to jump in to tell you stuff.
Yeah, yeah. No, it is. At first, it's like you, and sometimes you can hear it if you listen closely to a game. But at first, it's like, oh, I need to stop talking because like someone's talking to me. Like I think that's everyone's natural reaction.
Yeah, of course.
But then you kind of slowly, and then also I'll credit our home statistician Joey, who's really good at talking when he knows there's a break in what I'm saying. So there's almost like, when you work enough with someone, there's almost like this telepathic, like we both know each other's tendencies so much that he knows, okay, Carlo's done calling a play. Let me sneak this in. So he's not doing it like while the game-winning shot is going up. You know what I mean?
Yep, 1000%. Same thing with like when you're working with a color commentator, which I'm sure you know when plays about to slow down, or for hockey as an example, when a team's on a penalty kill and they dump it down the ice, like boom, that's when the color commentator can jump in because I don't need to describe the puck sliding all the way down to the other end of the ice. Like it's unnecessary. Have you found yourself finding any words or phrases that you like to use? I know you've referenced nylon. You like Mike Breen has bang. I know Chris Cuthbert, a hockey guy here in Canada, has did you see that? And for all the Maple Leafs fans, Joe Bowen has holy Mackinac. But as a young guy, have you found your a word or a phrase yet that you like?
Yeah, I would think nylon is definitely the word. It's something that I kind of came about randomly in a sense. I was one of my favorite things to do is listen to other radio broadcasters and steal phrases I enjoy, because if you steal from a lot of people, it's art. That's what they say. So I'm gonna go with that. If you steal from many, it's art. If you steal from one, you're a thief. I think that's how the phrase goes.
That makes sense to me.
Yeah, it kind of works out. So I would always listen to guys and write down phrases that I liked and then try to work them into a broadcast. It's still something I do, to be honest with you. I still love listening and, that's a neat way to describe how something happens. So I was listening to somebody and they used, I don't remember who it was, nothing but nylon. And I was like, oh, that's nice. That's nice. And
a little change on nothing but net.
Yeah, exactly. Because the net's made of nylon. And I was like, all right, let's see if I can shorten it. So Boogie Ellis, who played for the USC Trojans when I was in school, he hit a big step back three over their rival, and I just went nylon. And I posted that on TikTok, and people were like, that's a great call. People loved it. And I was like, oh, okay, I got good feedback. That's awesome. I'll make sure to use it again. And so that's been something that when I joined the Clippers, I posted a call where I used it and people loved it. And, and then you post it sometimes and people hate it. And they're like, this guy overuses it. So maybe I gave social media a little too much power. But I like it. I think it's fun. I think it's an interesting call. It's something
for sure.
I try to save for the big moments. But it honestly is nice because when the ball goes up, the hard part about nylon is I can't use it on a swish. Or not on a swish, on something that isn't a swish, I feel like.
Right. So it rattles around, you got to wait another split second.
100%. I wish I picked a word, bang is so perfect, because if Mike Breen gets a rattling in three, he can still go bang, right?
Yeah.
But I got to kind of, is this
you got to
hesitate
hesitate a second.
Yeah. So I don't know. Maybe I'll find another word where I don't need a swish. But right now it's what I'm rocking with.
Well, I mean, big moment swish, if you overuse it, then it can ruin it. So I think if you hold on to
that's true.
My suggestion would be hold on to it
and wait for the big moment
because then
swish.
you're not saying it as much and it becomes even more special.
That's true. That's true.
Have you ever hit anyone with a double nylon yet? Double bang?
I haven't. I don't think I'll ever double anything. I feel like that's a Mike Breen. He should take that.
He's
with
earned
him.
that.
Yeah, forever. You know what I mean? It's his thing to do. Double. And also just, I remember I watched the first double bang because I grew up in the Bay Area. So obviously I was watching the Warriors games. And when you listen to him double bang for the first time, it's he truly just does it like, and he said this in podcast too, but like it was such an insane moment that it was so natural. And I feel like now if I'm double nyloning, well then I'm clearly forcing it. You know what I mean? Like, like versus like what makes those calls great is that there's just like no script to them. It's just something that he came up with. So, and
he's done the double bang so few times.
Yeah. I think it's like 8 times or something.
Yeah,
like it's crazy.
So good.
Although, did you see that he did a podcast with Brunson and Josh Hart, and they were like, "Will we ever get a triple bang?" And he said, "If one of you guys hits a game winner in the finals." So we're like not that far away from a triple bang. It could happen.
It's got to be like
game 7
winning shot. Like that's the only time. Buzzer beater. It's the only time you would get that. I like that he's left the door open to it. I like that he's open to it.
A little teaser. When the Knicks made the finals, I was like, here we go.
We got a chance. So you're telling me there's a chance? Okay, here we go. Name that call. I think it's a good time for it, and then we'll wrap it up. I'll get you out of here. I've been having a blast so far, Carlo. I appreciate your time. It's always fun talking shop. So I have 3 of them for you. And, yeah, let's see how well you do. Like I said, I'm just going to read the quote, monotone, and then tell me if you know the moment and who the broadcaster was, okay?
Okay.
I put this one in here because it's one of my favorites. And if you know the call, just finish the sentence. Cut me off and finish the sentence. Okay. I think you'll get it. Okay, here we go. James catches, puts up a 3, won't go. Rebound Bosch, back out to Allen.
His 3-pointer, bang. That was Mike Breen. Game 6, San Antonio and Miami. 2014 finals?
2013 final, yeah. Tie game with 5 seconds remaining. Spurs do not have a timeout. That's an all-timer.
That's a great one.
That's an all-timer. And just one...
talk about a butterfly effect of the NBA. I mean, it was over. It was over before that.
It was. That game was in San Antonio, too, was it not? I just watched it.
Yeah. So, yeah.
Yeah. And then go back to Game 7, Heat win it. But, tie game, Mike Breen. That was a big one. Just one bang. Here's the second one. So you're 1 for 1.
Okay.
Lillard, a chance to send the Thunder home. Lillard, long-range 3, and it's good at the buzzer. Damian Lillard, are you kidding me?
Is that Brian Anderson?
It is.
Okay, Brian Anderson. That is round 1, Blazers Thunder. Was that Paul George's last year in OKC? Was that 2019?
It was. You're perfect there. Every detail right.
Let's go. Yeah, I remember it. That was insane.
Game was tied 115, buzzer beater.
And he shot that ball from like 38 feet.
Yeah. Do you remember what Paul George said after the game?
He's like, that's good defense. It's like, wow. He hit the shot.
Wasn't he also like, that was a bad shot?
Yeah.
I know he made it, but that was a bad shot. It's like, okay, bro, whatever helps you sleep tonight.
Yeah, seriously. I love like Dame did like and this might have been a skip, but he did a commercial and he was like at the spot and he was like, it was from here? He was like, yeah, I guess so.
That's
like,
good, yeah.
Even he was shocked at how far he shot that.
It was pretty deep, but sick moment. And okay, 2 for 2.
All right.
Here we go,
right.
Final one. Let's wrap it up here. Top of the key with 4. Finds Kawhi, left wing with 2. Pump fake. The long 2 for the win. Puts it in. And Halloween ends with a treat from the claw.
That's me.
That is you.
I appreciate it, Troy. That is a Halloween 2025.
That's right.
Yeah. Shout out Kawhi.
At what point in that quote did you realize that was you?
Halloween. I was like, because Kawhi, game winner, Mike Breen puts it in a lot. So I was kind of like, could have been him.
Yeah.
But yeah. Once you said
I was going to like that end, Carlo, like, and Halloween ends with a treat from the claw. Like, that's perfect. Like, that's a sick call.
That was fun.
Big shot.
That was fun. That was unfortunately, when I think of that game, now, and I think this will change later, but the Clippers proceeded to not win a home game for another month after that. So now when I hear that, I'm like, oh, and then it just all went downhill. Like, and then
you have like this sick memory, and you associate it with the month after.
Yeah, it was tough. But they went on to finish above 500, so it's all good. But I do remember now, because we would get to home games and be like, spend that long,
yeah.
But thankfully
Can't
they turned
believe
it
it.
around. Yeah, no, Kawhi had a couple. That was his own. I think he had 2 game winners this year too, which was fun.
Okay, I was trying to find a couple from you scrolling through your TikTok, and like because it seems like most of your feed is full of like telling the stories, like the food and like the tours of your booths and stuff, which I love. But I couldn't find a game. But the times that I did find like big shots, it was Kawhi.
Yeah.
Like a lot of them were Kawhi. And I'm like,
Kawhi.
I can't have multiple Kawhi shots in here. But
no, it's get Kawhi the ball, get out the way. Usually good things happen.
Well, I mean, Toronto Raptors against the Sixers, Game 7. Like, never going to forget that one. I remember where I was. I was sitting with my dad and my brother on the couch in the living room, and it just, like, that ball felt like it was in the air forever.
That was crazy.
Absurd.
That's like one of the great shots in the history of the NBA.
It's the first ever Game 7 buzzer beater.
That's insane. Is there another one? No.
Unless one's happened since.
I don't think so.
I don't think there has been.
Not one I can remember. I mean, Dame's hit 2 Game 6 buzzer beaters, I think.
Yeah.
But I don't think anyone's hit a game. That's crazy. I did not know that that's the only Game 7 buzzer beater. That is insane.
It's wild.
That is insane.
I mean, buzzer beaters all the time in the playoffs, but like for the win. But like I think that the only Game 7 one. That's wild.
I know he has the most since he entered the league. In terms
Kawhi
of like,
does?
straight buzzer beaters, yeah.
Yeah,
Something about that guy, man. He's a robot.
He's a robot. Seriously. The guy just hits a buzzer beater and goes like this. Yeah, messed up.
We did it.
On to the next one.
Exactly.
All right, Carlo. That's all I got for you. Really appreciate your time. I was thrilled when you were able to get back to me after the end of the regular season. Was like, no way. I was telling everyone about it. I was like, guys, the Clippers radio guy got back to me. And, this went fantastic. I appreciate your time and enjoy your summer and good luck in the upcoming season.
Thank you so much, Troy. Appreciate you. These were definitely some of the more fun and unique questions I've ever been asked. So I appreciate your research and all the prep time you put into it, and just know it shows. This was a lot of fun. It went by. Right. That was a quick podcast. So
it did move fast, but appreciate that. Hope you enjoyed it. Wicked.